Hello everybody, welcome back for StarCraft 2 action. We have Oliveira going up against ShoWTimE in the Bellum Gens Elite lower bracket semi-finals. That means the loser gets 4th, and the winner goes on to the losers finals and gets guaranteed top 3. Now, Oliveira got here by slamming through the winner's bracket, just almost 2-0ing everybody. He did get challenged, though, by Skillus, a Protoss player. Skillus took a game off him. We did cast that best of 3. It was pretty nice. Oliveira showed a variety of styles there. He also played DNS in the first round, also a Protoss player, so we've seen a bunch of PvT from Oliveira. And all that I could really pick up on is that he's prepared to do anything. He likes to delay his starport for a little bit so he can get up to more barracks before, or even the CC before really getting to medevacs. Likes going 1 Rax, 1 Reaper, get a factory, get a CC, and then kind of branch out from there. But most of his punches will definitely include siege tanks. Loves those siege tank plus bio pushes with the first 2 medevacs. Just go, go, go. Maybe +1. You don't know. But he can do it all. He can even just go quick 3rd CC and even just go into the late game, make a million Liberators. He don't care. He will win. And he eventually dropped down to Clem in the upper bracket semis. Made his way through Lambo. And now meets ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE did the same thing as Oliveira. Crushed his way through the upper bracket. Didn't meet a single Terran. Dropped down in the winter semis. And then crushed his way through Stats, I think? Who was it? Solar. It was Solar. And then meets Oliveira in top 4. So let's see what happens in this best of 5. Oliveira looks pretty strong EMP in TVP, and we haven't seen any of ShoWTimE's PvT. So we're going to see what happens. Probe and Reaper don't really see each other. Standard openers so far. And Oliveira going for a slightly later CC, prioritizing the factory with 2nd gas even. Going for a 2nd Reaper here. So probably going to have a little mobile force to move around the map early. Take some map control. Little time skip because my cat hid himself in the closet. And the closet was closed. I really wanted to get out. And double Reaper here for Oliveira is going into the Widow Mines at a faster starport than usual. So kind of playing to his image, or at least to what he's been showing in the tournament so far. Gonna go for a nice Widow Mine drop. And that can do a lot of damage to Protosses ever since the Widow Mines were introduced. Or I think ever since they have plus damage to shields. The Protosses have not been liking that unit. Blink coming out for ShoWTimE here on the Twilight console. Let's see what he does with that. How many gates he's going to add on. How many stalkers he's going to add on. We do see the Robo, which is very nice. You can put some pressure on. This main base is not too wide, but it's still possible to blink into the main. And you will see most Terrans put down a siege tank in the main. And sometimes even put like SimCity over here, so that it's harder for those stalkers to like get into the mineral line. 3rd base for Oliveira going down, and the Widow Mine drop. Let's move it out. Just going to see if it can find a little bit of damage. ShoWTimE though. Just looking for a juicy 3rd base. Blink is not done, so if there are no stalkers in the main, these Widow Mines will at least buy some time for Oliveira making these probes, evacuate the area, not mine any minerals whatsoever, whilst they wait for the mines to be diffused. Here comes the drop. The Widow Mines drop in. No quick reaction, but it's fast enough. Look at those Widow Mines slowly burrowing, getting the 2 kills, and Oliveira gets in, tries to pick up the Widow Mine, gets a little misclick there. And the Widow Mines are revealed. There is no armory on the map. And no drilling claws either. I think you need the drilling claws nowadays. I mean, I know I just misspoke. The Reapers do get in, find out that there is a 3rd base, and the Widow Mines already found out that there is Blink. We do see this interference matrix coming out of Oliveira. Let's see how many Ravens he will commit to. Because he has one so far, hasn't booted up a second one. They are quite expensive in gas. He could afford an extra one, but it looks like he wants to switch over the barracks into a starport. So he did the interference matrix upgrade for 1 Raven. Now, this could help with a nice timing push for Oliveira. Because if ShoWTimE was kind of rushing into Colossi right now, you shut down the Colossi and you kill your opponent, basically. But Oliveira kind of knows that it's probably not a Colossus rush. We see a lot of gateways actually coming out with another gateway upgrade in the charge. So Zealot's getting that charge upgrade. Do have a third base, and I guess that's why Oliveira's not investing into extra Ravens. He pretty much figured out that probably not going to be robo-focused gameplay. So there's just not going to be a good target for the interference matrix outside of the War Prism right now. And ShoWTimE, with these sentries, is going to have full information of what his opponent is doing if he wants to send out a hallucinated Phoenix. We do see this War Prism going around the map, going to try and find a nice vantage point in the main base. And here we see 4 Zealots being warped in, loaded up into the War Prism Umbrella. And Umbrella Corp is gonna go into your main base and try find a nice place to get some damage done. And keep Oliveira on his side of the map, because if you look at ShoWTimE's army, it's not that big just yet. Do get the first Immortal. How many gateways do we have? We have 8 of them on a line ready to warp in units. We have the supply cap as well. Never mind. Look at that. ShoWTimE warps in a bunch of units at home, and now he barely has any supply cap ready. So it's just going to be these 4 Zealots. Ooh, Oliveira spots this War Prism. Did fly into turret range just for a second there. And Oliveira, the quick eyes, the quick hands, did manage to find those. Actually sending back the medevacs, trying to hunt down this War Prism, and we do see 1 Viking coming out to make sure this War Prism can't stick around forever. ShoWTimE gets into the back of the main, and the army runs back into the main whilst ShoWTimE is moving into the third base. These Zealots in the main base do get cleaned up, or 2 of them even getting picked up. And, ooh, this drop, very valuable for Oliveira to keep back at his third base. Because this army of ShoWTimE can't quite do any damage, but it does, again, keep Oliveira back at his base. ShoWTimE uses that space to get a 4th base, start his first Colossi, or Colossus. Robotic Support Bay is at the ready. Thermalance has just booted up, and ShoWTimE does see that Oliveira is moving out. His army supply is slightly higher than that of ShoWTimE. Now, we do see a little drop coming out. Some Zealots run in, find a Widowmine that they have to kill, and now they try to make their way into the third base. Reinforcements catch up, and we see a little fight here. Force fields keeping a lot of the army of Oliveira from fighting that of ShoWTimE, but Oliveira just runs up this ramp. I was a little surprised by that. Normally, you want to make sure that the ramp is kind of safe, and if there's a bunch of sentries on top, they're gonna force field you out, and that's what happened, and your army gets cut in half, or like 1/3 and 2/3, like however they want to cut it. They can slice and dice your army in a way that favors them. Look at that, the lockdown on top of the Colossus. Interference Matrix coming in hot, and the 4th base has been killed. The Colossus now back online, can fire at these Marines, do that bonus damage to light, hopefully get this army to leave, and Oliveira gladly obliges, leaves with ShoWTimE's 4th base in complete shambles, and ShoWTimE slightly down on supply. His army is also slightly lower, and his economy is hurting. So that 4th base seems like not too happy about losing that, I am sure. 3 Ghosts out on the way for Oliveira, 4th base, and double ups for the Bio is coming up. I think once that 2-2 finishes, even +1 air, it's going to make it really difficult for ShoWTimE to fight the army of Oliveira. Now, he does have the Ghost timing, As in, he just got Ghost for the first time, so he can look to move out here. Oliveira can. Ooh, the zombie zealots get found in the middle of the map. You kind of want these boys to arrive at, like, this base the moment Oliveira walks over here. Just walks straight towards your base. So nice that ShoWTimE is trying this at the same time. Gets some of the zealots in the natural. This Warp Prism has been given up, or, oh, actually gets out. Doesn't even have Warp Prism speed, but it just looked like he clicked it, just kind of like, ah, whatever, it's dead, and then realized, wait, it's actually okay, I can just retreat it. Oliveira sitting pretty. Both players have a pretty nice army. Oliveira's getting that 4th base. ShoWTimE has rebuilt his, but he's been focusing his army on mostly Warp Gate units, which you kind of want to overwhelm your opponent with that, and especially the Ghosts are going to make that a tough job. Because all of the shields of all of your units are just going to disappear because of this EMP. And these Ghosts still are just 2 supply a pop. How many Vikings do we have in the air? We have 6 of them in the air, plus Ghost, plus 1 Raven. So these Colossi have to do some work, and they're going to get a small opportunity to do so. The 6 Vikings will eventually clear those Colossi, but if the bio gets bunched up, you can definitely get some splash damage done. So let's try to circumvent the army, try to get some backstabbery going, and these zealots do find the 5th base. They click on the SCVs, nice target fire by ShoWTimE, but on the other side of the map, Oliveira kind of pushing his way in. We do have disruptors here for ShoWTimE, 5 of them, making sure that just bio has a pretty tough time engaging. And because of that, Oliveira loads up all of his units into a big Doom Drop, 3 medevacs full of bio, whilst the rest of the army goes towards a potential 5th base. But the 5th base is at the bottom here, and Oliveira, kind of cognizant of that, doesn't know it, but he feels it in his bones. And, I mean, he also just covering his bases here. Ooh, there's 1 disruptor, tries to get a nice, like, sneaky backstab, but can't get it. Instead, gets caught out of position. This Raven is ready to throw down Interference Matrix. Does get 1. The Disruptors are getting cleaned up here by the bio. The rest of the Novas don't go off or get sidestepped by Oliveira. And he gets a pretty good trade here. The Vikings cleaning up the Colossi, or are they? Nuclear battery keeping it alive. And the 1 Colossus does go down, but a lot of Oliveira's units have died here. Now drops into the natural whilst moving into the 4th base. An attack on 2 fronts, and the Colossi beams are not quick enough to deal with the Marines there. And the 4th base also dies. Even the units in the natural don't get cleaned up. And this is going from bad to worse for ShoWTimE. Looked like he was holding on, but then 2 bases lost on the left bottom side for him. Wasn't able to defend. You can't tell me he didn't know those units were there, because he did lose his 5th there. Just thought he needed all the units he could muster to defend at his field center. Defend his 3rd base in natural. And he did defend it. And now he just clicks it across the map. He's like, I can't defend in all of these locations. I need to force you to react to me and not the other way around. So I'm going to run into your field center. But there's a bunch of Liberators providing some freedom fields for his Terran allies, or her Terran allies. And ShoWTimE just rolls on in, tries to get some nice disruptor hits as well. But what do you do against all of these freedom fields if you barely have any stalkers? He's like 5 stalkers in this army in total. And ShoWTimE GG's out as his army splodinates to the freedom as more units and even his natural blew up and more Terran units were streaming on in, just destroying everything he had in the back. And Oliveira takes the first game. ShoWTimE looked like he was like really performing his game plan here. Got that 4th base up really early. Got Oliveira to go back to his 3rd base every time. But he can't lose that 4th base. He can't get caught off guard by like 2 to 3 full medevacs of bio just stimming in and killing your Nexus for free. It just can't happen. And I liked the Zealot run-bys, but they never really found the damage. He did have that 1 Warp Prism going in, but maybe if he gets like Warp Prism speed, has 1 or 2 of them, and then scoots by, gets a Warp Prism back there, and maybe bigger run-bys even. If you just do like Dark Templar, or you get your army over here and then recall, because Oliveira's just too good at defending those small zealot run-bys. He was only committing like 3, 4, and all of them were just dying. We see like 76 zealots died, and ShoWTimE lost. Well, this is super skewed, obviously, because he lost the game and lost his whole last army. But I feel like Oliveira is happy with that game, and ShoWTimE needs to make some alterations. Saw the Raven, and only one Raven still looked to be doing a lot of work. Like, he had the 3 Colossi, and they weren't super answered, and still Oliveira was able to just fight here, if that makes sense. So maybe get some more Colossi, maybe get the Disruptors earlier. I don't know. Maybe go for a High Templar. Could also be a thing. Yeah, takes a better Protoss than me to know what ShoWTimE should exactly do. But I think especially these run-bys were just bleeding cash and then losing that 4th base, just put him behind. And probably kept him in that lane. Like, you have to keep sending small run-bys because you need to do run-bys to try and get some damage. If Oliveira F's up one time, he loses a bunch of his EVs. His reinforcements don't come across the map as fast, so you have an opportunity to kill his army before the reinforcements get there. It's understandable. But if you keep that 4th, you can do bigger run-bys. Maybe punish Oliveira for sending out his reinforcements a bit too early. And then all of a sudden, like 12 zealots are on this ramp, get more of them warped in the main, and Oliveira's like halfway across the map, like, oh shit, that's not good. Let's see what happens. Game number 2. And Oliveira taking game number 1 there. Pretty convincingly against ShoWTimE. Not disappointed by ShoWTimE's play though. Looked very interesting, and he had a nicely low army count, kind of like sitting in front of his 3rd base, and just making sure that Oliveira had to stay at home with like his higher army count. And then once ShoWTimE had built up his army, only then Oliveira could comfortably come across the map. So ShoWTimE cutting some nice corners there. I like the quick 4th, but he lost it. And I mean, the War Prism Morass, also a really good idea, forcing Oliveira to put down all those turrets, forced him to run back with the medevacs. Like, did such a good job of keeping Oliveira at home. But when the punch came, it was like Mike Tyson. It just hits so hard when Oliveira comes in. You need to be really ready for that. So let's see if ShoWTimE can make some small adjustments here. Game number 2, where we have loaded into Site Delta, which is one of the natural, or maps with a natural that has a ramp. Now, we've kind of been going away from naturals having ramps, because those are pretty easy to defend. Oliveira puts down his CC after the racks and actually skips the Reaper completely, goes for a pretty fast factory off of 1 gas. So going for no Reaper frees up some gas, and then also going for only 1 gas because you have enough enables you to get an earlier CC. So a bit of a different build here from Oliveira for game number 2. Let's see what happens. Now just remember that ShoWTimE even defended the Widowmine drop really well in the first game as well. So it just feels like everything went good enough for ShoWTimE to really take that game, and then it just didn't. So what I'm especially interested to see is, does he play the same style? Does start with the Twilight consoles, doesn't like to go into Robo first, which I think is very rare, and Stargate, which, you know, Oracle is pretty good, but Cyclones exist, and Cyclones make it pretty hard to use that Oracle effectively, not as good as it is against Zerg. Now, nice denial here of the CC by ShoWTimE. This one little adept move kills an SCV, and there was no Reaper to scout this out. But now there's 3 Marines and a Hellion moving across the map. Or are they just going to defend this Hellion? I feel like you want to get across the map here with the Hellion. Wow, the target firing here of Oliveira is just ruthless. Gets this adept and gets both of them. Oh my god, ShoWTimE just not shading out fast enough and actually donates 2 adepts there. Let's see what Oliveira saw in the base of ShoWTimE. Hasn't seen anything. So he is just playing his own game. And we are getting a medevac drop once again with the Widow Mines. Now, we haven't seen Oliveira do this in the other series, but now he's going to do it twice in a row. And maybe it just kind of feels like ShoWTimE is weak to it. We get Marine drop. And a Widow Mine, maybe he's going to put it in the middle of the map. Maybe just in front of his base. Let us see where it goes. Now we see this Widow Mine plus 6 Marine drop going across the map. 1 Hellion scouts out that there is no third just yet. The Stalker. He's looking around. He finds the Hellion. It gets a couple shots in. But the Hellion is fast. Now, oh my god, this medevac gets spotted, but the Stalker's barely not in position to kill it in time. Now, these 2 medevacs do get a burrow position. One of them goes down before it can shoot. The other one not really in range of the probes. Nice job here by ShoWTimE. Sends out the probe. Gets it targeted by the Widow Mine. Oliveira does not manage to reset it. And that is 3 probes killed, but ShoWTimE defends. But his third base is a little late. But what is he going to do? Oh, he's going to attack with 3 gateways and blink stalkers. He has an observer going across the map, so he can blink into the main here. Oliveira doing a pretty similar thing to game number 1, going for that interference matrix with a Raven. And ShoWTimE going for a faster robotic support bay in the second game. Let's see if we see an extra Raven here. The Raven even helps with the observer. That's very nice. Don't need to use scans for that. You can just find the observers. We have a siege tank here for Oliveira. And that is going to be the end of all of the blink aggression that ShoWTimE could bring. He can maybe poke at the front, but there's already a siege tank over there. A forge gets started up, signaling that ShoWTimE is in it for a longer game. Wants to get an upgrade at least. We do see some charge lot being upgraded, so Zealot charge and Colossus range. The Thermalans upgrade is coming out. Let's see if this 1 Robo Colossus production is enough to keep Oliveira at bay, because Oliveira does not have a third base. He does not have a second engineering bay. He is just powering out units from 3 barracks, getting his medevacs up, and even getting drilling claws. Maybe some extended Widow Mine droppage in this game. That would be pretty cool. I would really enjoy that. Because drilling claw Widow Mines really burrow fast, and the later the game goes, the harder it is to react to those appropriately. Because you're not looking for them anymore as much. Because, you know, there are timings in the game where this is the moment where getting Widow Mine drops for Terran is like the earliest and the most convenient. And in between that space, like the earliest possible and the most convenient possible, in between there, you usually get Widow Mine dropped. So that's when there's like a big radar on a Protoss's head. It's like a gaydar, but it's for Widow Mine drops, which, you know, is awfully similar if you think about it. Oh, these stalkers do find the Widow Mine drop, dude. ShoWTimE saw it on the minimap with this observer and now catches that drop. Oliveira knows that there is some vision out there somewhere, but it's going to take too much time to find it. But there is a little push here from Oliveira. Would have been nice to have that drop whilst pushing somewhere else. So ShoWTimE really taking the teeth out of this push, because Oliveira invested a lot into that Widow Mine drop, getting the drilling claws. But Oliveira just kind of feigns a move out. We see ShoWTimE warp in a bunch of cheap gateway units. And oh my lord, I even missed it. Another Widow Mine drop. And now they are invisible because of the drilling claws. Need an observer here to deal with this. And in the end, no probes went down for that. Oh, one, you know, willingly died for the cause. Here comes that observer, taking care of the second Widow Mine drop. The Zealot tried to charge in, but the stalkers were in the way. So, he just kind of did what my cat sometimes does, where she's like, Jesus. I wanted to say that's what my cat does when I, like, bonk her nose with my finger when it's a little cold. Instead, I just ingested some saliva into my lungs. Oh my god, double interference matrix. Only one Colossus is firing. The 4th base goes down again. And in the meanwhile, we saw another drop go down in the 3rd base. Oliveira gets the move again. If it doesn't work the first time, surely it will work the second time. Only 6 probes have died, but ShoWTimE again losing that 4th base. And this time around, we do see the Warpism get in again, but you wanted to get in slightly earlier when Oliveira is still in the middle of the map. Now these Zealots do get decent trades, and the Ghosts are out on the map. ShoWTimE sees that the Ghost Academy is here. It's even in the same position, relatively speaking, as in the first game. We see +2 coming out. No secondary upgrades coming out of Oliveira. So just one engineering bay getting +2 for his bio. And I'm kind of surprised by these gases. Because Terran usually focuses on more mineral-heavy compositions. But I guess with the triple CC, he can fill it up just fine. And he wanted to have enough gas to make sure that he can make all of those Ghosts and Vikings that he wants to use. Because Oliveira looks to be coiling himself up to do a pretty big push. Wants to throw out another haymaker. And hopefully kick ShoWTimE out of this base that is trying to get back up again. He's kind of up against the ropes. Lots of boxing terminology here. Because he lost that 4th base once again. How many robos does he have? 2 robos once again. Let's look at the unit count. 3 Colossi, 4 Disruptors. 3 Colossi is kind of the magic number. And look at that, more Zealots in the main base, but Oliveira isn't doing anything else. So he can just comfortably kill all of these Zealots. Does get a decent amount of SCV kills. Is Oliveira even going to respond to that? Is he going to remake the SCVs or just use the freed up supply to make more army? Does fire up a couple more SCVs. I did not see correctly. We do have a second engineering bay, so very similar spot to the last game. Look at how chill Oliveira is here. He's just like, I'm okay. I don't need to be super duper aggressive. Already killed your 4th base once. Do have a 5th base underway for ShoWTimE, and he has moved across the map with his army. Walks into Widow Mine range, eats 2 big mine shots, and all of his Zealots are now completely bruised up already. Has to wait for those shields to come back. But does he have the time? Does he feel like he can? Ooh, a big Dorito cannon does go down on the army of ShoWTimE. The anti-armor missile lowering the armor by 3, and that's a lot. Guardian Shield does come up, upping the armor by 2, so kind of nullifying the Dorito cannon. And wow, Oliveira moves in from 2 sides, enough Vikings to clean up the power units of the Colossus. Even the spreads of Oliveira, making sure that those Colossus are just hitting 1 bio unit, making all of the splash damage completely negligible or negating it even. And now ShoWTimE on the back foot has 1 Disruptor. The rest is just chaff, just warp gate units. And he's looking up against this giant Oliveira army. And if you look at the army count, it's 100 supply against 80. Let's see if Oliveira can convert here. The siege tanks stayed at home. And the reinforcements as well. 1 Widow Mine softens up these Zealots once again. And Oliveira is getting a 4th base. Now ShoWTimE has a 5th base up and running. And he is rebuilding these robo units. I wouldn't hate a 3rd robo right now. Just more robo units. But ShoWTimE banking a lot of gas as well. Maybe just a Templar Archives for Archons here. He somehow banking gas with only 4 gases. I guess that means he's just been losing a lot of Zealots. Just been prioritizing Zealot Warpins and been losing them. And these Widow Mines from Oliveira, dude. The Drilling Claws really coming into effect here. This Widow Mine can't get cleaned up by these Zealots now because of the Drilling Claws. That makes this build so nice. 3-3 underway. Even getting personal cloaking for the Ghosts. And just a little bio force here. Cleans up a bunch of Zealots. Guns versus zombies, baby. Now, we do have some Vikings here, but they don't really have a job right now. Because there's no Colossi. Let's see. No Colossi at all. I would like to see ShoWTimE make a couple when he's almost max. So right now, we just put them behind the natural. maybe that's a little opportunistic. Maybe that's too much supply, because a Colossus is like 6 supply, if I recall correctly. So that might not be good. But as soon as those Vikings land, because they think, oh, there's no Colossus, let's add some DPS to the army. And then you add in the Colossus into the army when the Vikings have kind of thrown themselves away. I feel like you get a pretty cool power spike. But you can also just start up the Colossi as soon as you see Oliveira committing into you. Because you know he's gonna land the Vikings at some point. And then you can chrono boost, and then near the end of the fight, or when you were on the counteroffensive, your Colossus will spawn. But yeah, pretty expensive to commit 6 supply there. Oh, we see some disruptor shots here. We do get some decent hits. And I like that ShoWTimE is more active on the map. Has 2 big army groups. And we do get some clicks on the Vikings. That is nice. We see a Dark Templar shrine coming out. So these run-bys, as you can see, can be way larger if you have the money to spend. If you get the cash moolah in the bank. A nuke coming out of Oliveira. Let's see if that one gets used. We did see the fusion core. Does his little fusion core dance and is researching advanced ballistic upgrades? I don't know. It's just Liberator range. And used to be Yamato cannon. Used to always be Yamato cannon. But not anymore. Ooh, the ghosts get killed by a nice disruptor hit. And ShoWTimE finally gets some counter damage in to Oliveira. His 5th base, though, seems to be left for dead. And will be forfeit. We do see a nuke coming out of Oliveira. Oh, no. Is ShoWTimE gonna get clipped? No way. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. 19 probes go down. The entire 2nd Army Division of ShoWTimE gets softened up. The 3rd base is down. What a nuke. That is very potentially a game-winning nuke out of Oliveira. Dude. Oh, we don't get to see those a lot nowadays. And that was juice. He got all the probes, softened up the entire army. Like, it didn't hit the army fully, but still. As I said, very game-ending. I feel like ShoWTimE, again, looks to be feeling the heat of the breath of Oliveira in the back of his neck. As he feels like he needs to be doing something on Oliveira's side of the map whilst he retakes a 5th, while he retakes a 4th, his previous 3rd. This base is halfway mined out. This one is halfway mined out. This one doesn't exist. My man ShoWTimE is broke. So he needs to find something on this map. He is getting DT Blink, which is quite the investment at this point. But I guess he just needs something. 1DT could do wonders in this 4th base because there just happens to be no detection. But you can't... I don't know, maybe you should gamble at this point. Because if you're ShoWTimE, you know you're kind of boned. Right? Let's look at the minimap. He doesn't know about the top base. Oy. I think as soon as he sees this base, he's like, okay, GG. It is the main base of Oliveira, but you don't know that as the Protoss. So you're going to walk in here, and you're going to see this base, and you're like, oh, he has a base? And then you don't know if it's the main base or not. Disruptor's kind of lagging behind here. But, ooh, that base does get lifted up. Nice job by ShoWTimE. There's a Widow Mine down here. Didn't get any big kills. Oh, another nuke, but ShoWTimE is on top of it. He's like, fool me once. Nice memes. Fool me twice. Ain't happening. They call me the Wall for a reason. I'm German. I don't have no sense of humor, so don't fool me. I don't know if the joke works like that, but... I mean, these have been nice moves from ShoWTimE, keeping Oliveira at his base. Kind of funny how these siege tanks just haven't moved since, I think, 10 minutes ago. They've just been sieged here by Oliveira. It's like, perfect. Absolute art. Not cinema, because this is more like a painting. Oh, Oliveira. He goes in with the stim. He dodges all of the disruptors. Oh, more disruptor shots do come out. And can Oliveira keep chasing? Gets one disruptor, gets two. That is critical. If all of the disruptors go down, then there's just no unit keeping this army from collapsing on top of ShoWTimE. And now the freedom zones come out, making sure that it's very hard for ShoWTimE to move into this area. Look at that. ShoWTimE slightly out of position. Can't stop those freedom zones from getting up. All of the probes are evacuated, except for these. They were left behind. And 15 probes did go down in that short amount of time. More freedom zones. Oh my god, ShoWTimE just can't stop the freedom from coming in. And oh, a bunch of probes did go down over there. So probably like a Widowmine drop or something. Oliveira, dude, takes 2-0 over ShoWTimE, and you see when it's going well for ShoWTimE. It's when he's across the map, making Oliveira respond to him. And as soon as Oliveira kind of gets the initiative back, he just starts attacking and a Widowmine dropping you. And once you've lost one or even two bases, ShoWTimE just doesn't have the cash to remax. Like, ShoWTimE kind of was a dead man walking when he moved over here and like got this base to lift and got some fights over there. But it was a good try, and now he has to really buckle down and maybe try a different build or something, because Oliveira seems unstoppable for ShoWTimE right now. So let's head to game number 3. And for game number 3, we load up into a slightly less standard map that is Crimson Court. Oliveira was sending out his first SCV, decides against proxying his racks. Well, I mean, you don't want to proxy your supply depot, but we need to see ShoWTimE step it up here in game number 3. Maybe he goes for Phoenix Colossus on this map. It can be pretty decent because of the left and the right side are completely locked off by these rocks, so by ground it's pretty hard to get there. You could take advantage of that by going a little bit more heavy on the air units and trying to police that area of the map. Maybe finding some Terran drops. But Oliveira can just kind of keep doing what he's doing. Now, ShoWTimE isn't known for going balls to the walls crazy with his build orders. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does pretty similar build once again. I would like to see one little shakeup, because you need to win 3 more games, my dude. Like, but maybe he's just very confident that a couple adjustments will put him in that driver's seat. Because you can also spin it the other way around. If you do a crazy build and you take a game, it's kind of like, well, good job. You still have to do 2 more gambles to maybe win. Because if you play a standard game, you've just told me that you probably lose every standard game we play by going for a low gamble build. But sometimes that little gamble build is all you need to get some wind into your sails. And if you want to put some wind into my sails, be sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Leave a like to the video. I hope you are enjoying the StarCraft 2 content. We're getting to the meat, the bones, and the juice. Mostly the meat and juice. The bones aren't very nice. Of this tournament, this is for 4th place, and we have only the creme de la creme players left in this tournament. Reaper comes across the map, and we see a CC going out, a factory's been completed, and we see a Hellion. Okay, so not waiting for the gas to make a Cyclone, instead goes for a reactor. Double Reaper, okay. 3 Reaper, not the most standard, but I guess if you get 3 Reapers into the main, you can kill a couple probes. That's pretty nice, especially if ShoWTimE skips on an early shield battery there, which honestly, it isn't that standard to put a shield battery in your main, unless you think that there is going to be some Banshees, or a drop that isn't Widowmines. Gateway's coming out. I did like the time where double or Viking drops were a thing, if you remember. Because Vikings, when they're landed, they do bonus damage against mechanical, which is probes, but also SCVs. And you would put them in medevacs and then drop them, because that's faster than manually landing them. Oh, this Adept. No! ShoWTimE, you saw the unit. but Oliveira split all of his units off. I wish I'd shown the vision range of the Shade. It's not big enough, so Oliveira completely tricked him and might just sucker punch him out of this game number 3 and the whole damn series. Because 5 units are in your main base and you have 2 of them thangs. That shield battery is not done. The Adept goes down. The probes are not off the line and only one Stalker is alive. A second one does get warped in. This Hellion gets taken down. 3 probes have gone down. 6, 7, and maybe more. Oh, this Stalker, it's alive. 7 probes and the shield battery keeps it alive. ShoWTimE keeps himself alive. But 7 probes go down, and the major aggression is still to come from Oliveira. Stim already being upgraded. The first siege tank is done. A second one soon to be done as well. We do have Blink, and Oliveira has seen the Twilight Console. How many gates do we have? Only 2 gates, and ShoWTimE goes for a 3rd base. He doesn't want to put down 2 more gates and go across the map. He does throw down a Dark Shrine. And everybody knows this. We've been saying it since 2010, when behind a Dark Shrine. And ShoWTimE kind of wants to try if that still holds true today. Goes for an exact gateway before even getting the Nexus. Okay, interesting. Wants to make sure that he has enough warp-in capacity. And I mean, 2 Dark Templar can do a lot of damage. If he can get, like, something across the map. I don't think you want to warp them in at your natural and send them across the map. Sure, you can use them defensively as well. If you see an army like here or here, and your Dark Templar just walks in, starts slicing up a siege tank, that means they have to scan here. And then when they get over here, you can have another Dark Templar forcing another scan. And Oliveira, as it happens, only has 2 orbitals, but he is pulling the boys. That means that Oliveira means business. He wants to do a lot of damage to ShoWTimE and potentially even kill it. ShoWTimE finds the SCVs, knows that something is awry. This Warp Prism tries to go across the map, is going to warp in some DTs at his opponent's base, most likely, but Oliveira does have scans. He almost has 4 scans, at least 2 of them. DT runs in, a scan comes down, that DT is dead, and the natural is being evacuated. ShoWTimE has to give up this position. He was being pretty greedy, I feel like, trying to get that 3rd base. This Immortal's never going to come out, or is it? And we only have a couple Stalkers here. Do we have a Dark Templar warping in the main? No, we do not. Which means that ShoWTimE trying to defend at home here. Another DT. All of the probes come off the line. They try to get on top of all of the siege tanks, and we do get all of the siege tanks killed, but at what cost? 25, 30 probes go down to all of Oliveira's forces. A turret was being built in the main base of ShoWTimE. And we do have a Warp Prism here. A DT comes out, and ShoWTimE just doesn't want to play anymore. Only 18 probes. Doesn't have the 3rd Nexus to try and Chrono Boost out more probes. We do have only 34 workers for Oliveira, so if we could magically, like, paint Photoshop in a 3rd base here for ShoWTimE, I think he might have tried, but warped in the DT, walked into a turret, didn't quite get the damage. Oh my lord, and ShoWTimE gets kind of clapped by Oliveira here in this best of 5. Moves on to the losers finals, and ShoWTimE gets 4th place. Really good showing, but couldn't make it happen against Oliveira. Which leaves us one last thing to do, and that is rate this series. It's clearly Blue Minerals. It honestly wasn't the greatest series ever. No. Stop. There was a nuke. There was a goddamn nuke. ShoWTimE made it to late game twice. It was actually a pretty good series. So it's 1 out of 1 nukes. See you in the next one. Cheers.
locked in.